The detention cell hummed with the low frequency of the ship's engines, a sound that had driven countless prisoners to madness over the years. Commander Zixtha of the Hegemony watched her latest captive through the energy barrier, her four eyes studying the peculiar creature with growing fascination. The human sat calmly on the metal bench, his hands folded in his lap. No pacing, no screaming, no desperate clawing at the walls like every other species she'd encountered. For 3 standard cycles he had simply waited. Curious, she murmured, her translator converting her words into the primitive human tongue. The creature looked up, meeting her gaze with startling directness. Most species couldn't maintain eye contact with a hegemony commander. Their natural predator instincts kicked in. "Something I can help you with?" the human asked, his voice carrying an almost conversational tone. Zixtha's mandibles clicked in amusement. "You should be terrified, human. Do you know what this ship is? A hegemony dreadnought, if I had to guess. Probably the Void's Embrace or one of her sister ships, based on the engine harmonics and the gravitational field variations I felt during transport." The commander's secondary arms twitched, a sign of surprise she couldn't quite suppress. "You know our ships? I make it my business to know things." The human leaned back against the wall. "Let me guess. You're wondering why I'm not cowering in the corner begging for mercy or trying to bargain for my life." The thought had crossed my mind. Zixtha stepped closer to the barrier. "Your species has only just developed faster than light travel. You've encountered perhaps a dozen other spacefaring races. Yet here you sit in the detention bay of the most feared vessel in the galaxy, acting as though you're waiting for a transport shuttle." The human smiled, an expression Zixtha had learned to recognize from her xenobiology briefings. It typically indicated pleasure or amusement, though human facial expressions were notoriously difficult to interpret accurately. "Would you like to know why I'm not afraid, Commander? I find myself intrigued by your perspective." The human stood, moving with a fluid grace that reminded Zixtha of the apex predators from her homeworld. "Fear is an evolutionary response to immediate danger. It floods your system with chemicals designed to help you fight or flee. But fear also clouds judgment, impairs logical thinking, and makes you predictable. And you believe you face no danger here? Oh, I'm definitely in danger." The human began pacing now, but not with the frantic energy of prey. His movement was purposeful, controlled. "You could space me, dissect me, feed me to whatever nasties you keep in your biolabs. But being afraid wouldn't change any of those outcomes. It would just make me suffer more before they happened." Zixtha felt a strange chill run through her exoskeleton. "So you've simply chosen not to be afraid?" "More or less." The human stopped pacing and fixed her with that unsettling direct stare again. "My species learned a long time ago that the universe is fundamentally hostile to life. We evolved on a death world where everything, from the weather to the wildlife to the very ground beneath our feet, was actively trying to kill us. We survived by being adaptable, resourceful, and above all by not letting fear paralyze us when quick thinking could save our lives." A death world? Zixtha had heard the term before, but most spacefaring species originated from garden worlds, carefully balanced ecosystems that nurtured the development of intelligent life. Earthquakes that could level cities, storms that could tear apart mountains, predators that could hunt us across continents, diseases that could wipe out entire populations, ice ages that lasted millennia. The human's voice remained conversational as if he were discussing the weather, and that was just the natural hazards. Then we developed civilization and found even more creative ways to threaten our own existence. The commander's mandibles clicked nervously. "Yet your species survived. We did more than survive, we thrived. We turned our hostile environment into our greatest teacher. Every challenge made us stronger, smarter, more determined. We learned to look at seemingly impossible odds and ask not, how do we surrender? But how do we win? You believe you can win against the hegemony?" Zixtha's voice carried a mixture of amusement and incredulity. The human's smile widened, and for the first time Zixtha recognized it for what it truly was. Not pleasure, but the baring of teeth by a predator. "Commander, 3 days ago, your ships detected what you thought was a single human exploration vessel in contested space. You deployed a full battle group to capture one scared little primate for interrogation. Tell me, how many ships did you lose in that simple operation?" Zixtha's four eyes widened. The human couldn't possibly know about the losses they'd suffered. The tactical reports were classified at the highest levels. You see, we humans have a saying: the most dangerous person in any room is the one who isn't afraid to be there. The human moved closer to the barrier, close enough that Zixta could see her reflection in his dark eyes. I'm not afraid, Commander, because fear is a luxury I can't afford. While you've been trying to intimidate me, I've been studying this ship, learning its weaknesses, memorizing guard rotations, planning. Planning what? The words escaped Zixta's translator before she could stop them. How to turn your greatest weapon into our victory. The human's voice dropped to barely above a whisper. You wanted to know why humans aren't afraid? It's because we've learned something that apparently no other species in this galaxy has figured out yet. Which is, the human pressed his palm against the energy barrier and impossibly it flickered. Zixta's blood went cold as she realized what that meant. He had somehow been analyzing and manipulating the containment field's frequency. The most terrifying predator isn't the one that roars the loudest, the human said as the barrier began to destabilize. It's the one that smiles while it hunts. As alarms began to blare throughout the ship, Commander Zixta finally understood why the human hadn't been afraid. Fear was for prey, and she was beginning to realize which one of them that truly was.